Hello, hello. How are you all? So there was a lot of confusion going on from couple of weeks for international students about to like what amount of hours they can work. They can work up to 20, they can work up to 30, can they work up to 40 till the end of December 2023? So here's a small video which might make few things easier, and just to make sure if we are getting this information from a credible source, this information we are going to have it from Government of Canada's official page, which is IRCC, Immigration Refugee Citizenship Service. Now let's jump on who can work off campus. You and your employer must make sure you can work off campus without a work permit before you start working. Well, this looks little bit twisted. Having a work permit is after your studies, so that means you can still work off campus on study permit. If you start working off campus but don't meet the requirements, you may have to leave Canada. You only you can only start working in Canada when your study program has started. So let's say for our program started on 5th September, so you cannot start working from 1st September or any previous time. You can't work before you start your studies, which we covered earlier. If you are able to work during your studies, it will say so in the conditions on your study permit, which is last 2 to 3 lines of your study permit. Well, we will go on more details in later on. If you are eligible off campus work, you don't need a work permit, which again means that you should have a study permit. You don't really need a work permit while you are an international student. Eligibility requirements: you can work off campus without a work permit if you meet all these requirements. You are a full time student at designated learning institute, and our Mohawk College is one of them, so we are good. Now, what is a full-time student and what is a part-time student? So, full-time student are the one who are having four more than four courses in a particular semester, and part-time students are the students who are having less than four courses in the particular semester. So this usually happens when students are taking exemption of from couple of courses, and thus they become a part-time student. You are enrolled in a post-secondary academic vocational or professional training program or a secondary level vocational training program. Our is post-secondary graduate certificate, which is good. Your program is at least 6 months long or is 1 year, so we are again good on that. Leads to a degree, diploma, or certificate. Our is postgraduate certificate, so we match that criteria too. You have started studying. Now we are already on our fourth week, so we meet that criteria too. You have a social insurance number. Now, many people are still confused, like where can they get social insurance number, or can they work without social insurance number? Are they allowed to share the social insurance number with others? So no, never ever share your social insurance number with anyone except your employers. Where you can get social insurance number? You can get social insurance number from Service Canada. Any near Service Canada will help you to get you one. Plus, if you are going to any airport or while you are coming inside Canada, there has certain desk on airport itself to get a survey social insurance number, and that can avoid a lot of time when you are in going person on Service Canada. So now let's go on to next part. If you are a part-time student at DLI, You can work off campus only if you meet all the requirements above except the requirements to be a full-time student. So if you are a part-time student, you might be able to work, but you first need to meet all these criteria. And if you are matching all these criteria but still you are a part-time student, what are the things you need to take care of? You are only studying part time instead of full time because you are in the last semester of your study program and you don't need a full course load to complete your program. That means you must be in last semester, and sometimes because we take couple of courses early or get exemption, we are left with two or three courses, which makes us a part-time student. But then if you are in a last semester, you can still work full time. You were a full time student in your program in Canada up until your last semester, which means you must be a full time student up to the last semester. So, let's say in our fourth semester, if one student is a part time, he can work full time if he has met all the above mentioned criterias, plus he has been a full time student from semester 1 to semester 3. Now, if you are an on authorized leave, if you are an on authorized leave from your studies, or you are switching schools, or you are not studying, you can't work off campus. You can only return to work once you are back to studying. Now, what does this means? Let's say if you are dropping a semester due to any health reason, or you are switching a program, or let's say you are even switching a college, that means, and if you are switching a college, there are still couple of months remaining to start your new program or new college. That means you are on an authorized leave, and there you can't work off campus. So get a social insurance number to work in Canada, which we already discussed. To apply for a SIN social insurance number to work on campus, you must have one of these conditions printed on your study permit. May work 20 hours per week off campus or full time during regular breaks if meeting criteria outlined in paragraph 186V of Immigration and Refugee Protection Regulations. Well, let's not get deep into it. These are like more of the jargons. May accept employment on or off campus if meeting eligibility criteria per paragraph. Again, this is not we need to take care of. So on every study permit, on last bottom of lines, there are always these conditions which give you a very specific idea of your own individual case, that how many hours you can work. Mostly it going to be 20 hours, but in few special cases they are not permitted any single hour. So make sure you are checking your study permit before starting a work. If your study permit doesn't have work conditions on it, so you can ask to have these conditions added if you are eligible to work off campus. There is no fee to add these conditions to your permit, so you can visit any Service Canada and ask them to help you out with amendment to your study permit, which is nothing but just an additioning of conditions to your study permit. And once you have that, you can go again to them for your SIN number. Now, how many hours you can work off campus during regular school terms and semesters? You can work up to 20 hours per week. You can't work more than one job to make up these hours. My bad, you can work more than one job to make up these hours as long as you continue to meet the conditions of your study permit. So this means, let's say, if your one job is having like giving you 8 hours, so that means you can work another job. Let's say on another job you are still having 5 hours, that makes 13 hours. So that means you can work more than one job, which should round up to 20 hours. It should not exceed more than 20 hours, regardless of how many different jobs you have. Now, many people have query, like let's say for 2 weeks, if they are adjusting their working hours, like 18 hours one week and 22 hours next week, and that's a total of 40 hours in 2 weeks. But friends, that's a bad practice. I have seen many people who get away working 25 hour plus in a week, and I have seen people who just might work 1 hour more than the allowed time, and they still get caught and face consequences. So my best advice to you guys will be, try to make your hours 20 or less. So from November 15, 2022 until December 31, 2023, you can work more than 20 hours per week off campus while class is in session if you meet certain requirements. Now, folks, put your more attention on the part which we are covering on this, because these are the major area where people, new coming people, are actually getting confused. You can work more than 20 hours per week off campus if you are in any of the following situation. You are a study permit holder. Your study permit has expired, but you have maintained your status and are studying at a DLI full time. You are approved for study permit but haven't arrived in Canada yet. In addition, you must meet all these criteria, all these requirements to be eligible. You are in Canada or have re entered Canada by December 31, 2023. You must have one of the following conditions printed on your study permit: may work 20 hours per week off campus or full time during regular breaks. If meeting criteria outlined in paragraph 186B of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Regulations, may accept employment on or off campus if meeting eligibility criteria per paragraph R186F, V, or W, and must cease working if no longer meeting this criteria. If you applied for a study permit extension after October 7, 2022, if your original study permit, which you are applying to extend, expires between November 15, 2022 and December 31, 2023, you can work more than 20 hours per week off campus. You must stop working more than 20 hours per week on the day your original study permit expires. You must also meet all of these requirements to be eligible. We received the application for your original study permit, which you are applying to extend on or before October 7, 2022. So let's say you have a study permit which is expiring on January 20, 2023. That means in this case, you can apply for extension of your study permit, but few cases here to take care of. Let's say you are not eligible for a work permit yet. You are taking another program, but your program length is more than your original study permit. In such cases, you apply for additional work permit or extension of your original study permit. If you are eligible for work permit, you don't need a study permit. You just need a completion letter from your college and then you apply for work permit. If you are able to go for work permit, don't get into extension of study permit. You are a study permit holder who is studying at a DLI full time or a part time if it's your final academic semester. You are in Canada or have re entered Canada by December 31, 2023. You must have one of the following conditions printed on your study permit: may work 20 hours per week off campus or full time during regular breaks if meeting criteria outlined in paragraph of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Regulations. May accept employment on or off campus if meeting eligibility criteria, but per paragraph R186F, V, or W, and must cease working if no longer meeting this criteria. When you must stop working over 20 hours off campus, you may be able to continue working over 20 hours off campus per week even after we approve your study permit extension application. The date you need to stop working more than 20 hours depends on the expiry date of your original study permit. If your original study permit expires in 2023, you can work over 20 hours off campus until the day it expires. If your original study permit expires in 2024, you can work over 20 hours off campus until December 31, 2023. If you are no longer eligible to work more than 20 hours a week off campus, you may be able to work up to 20 hours per week under the standard eligibility requirements. Well, these things covered our major confusion part. Now, in simple words, those students who applied for study permit before October 7, 2022 or on October 7, 2022, they are allowed to work more than 20 hours until December 31st, 2023. Again, those people who applied for their study permit or study permit extension before or on October 7, 2022 are eligible to work more than 20 hours till December 31, 2023. Any student who applied after October 7, 2022 is not eligible to work more than 20 hours, and this applies to people who were for Jan intake 2023, May intake 2023, or September intake 2023, which is particularly ours. So yeah, they are not eligible for that. Now there are few uh, time breaks where you can work up to any number of hours you want, which is like completion of one semester and the start of another semester. In between this time you can work up to 40 hours, more than 40 hours, but be very mindful of the days you are working. It should be exact dates after your the final result is announced and your next semester starts. Plus, on reading week, you are allowed to work more than 40 hours, as many as number of hours you want. And sometimes there are co-op placements between the semesters. In these co-op placements, you are allowed to work any number of hours you want, but you need a co-op work permit. Again, you need co-op work permit. You can get co-op work permit from Service Canada or any airport nearby, and that should end our today's discussion. Any questions on this can email me or drop me a text if you have my phone number. But other than that, I tried to cover most of the things which are necessary for our international students. And there are few more money earning tricks, more of a official way to have an extra income, which are specially kept by Canadian government for students. But this is a little bit out of the scope for this video. Anyone who wants more information on it can personally meet me during our regular lectures. But that's it for now. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.